last time local psychologist Dr. Amy Beth Taublieb was here, we talked about the heavy topic of can or should this marriage be saved after an affair. Well, this morning we welcome her back with more on this discussion on how to put a relationship back together again. So good morning, nice to have you here.
Good to be here on this rainy old day.
I know. So we might as well talk about something that's important for a lot of people.
Sure.
And again, we talked about can this relationship be put back together? And then you brought up a good point. Should this relationship be put back together?
Definitely. And the first question that needs to be asked is, do both parties want the relationship? Mm-hmm. And you and I have talked so many times on this show, one person can end a relationship. Mm-hmm. It only takes one, but it takes two to keep it going and put it back together. So if one member of the couple says, yeah, let's get back together, the other one says, I'm not so sure, not a good sign.
Yeah.
Next question. You need to look at why the relationship had problems. And are both people, and again, the key here is both, are both members of the couple willing to work here? Mm-hmm. A relationship problem is virtually never the fault of one individual. So when people come in to me and say, I was entirely at fault, my spouse was absolutely perfect, can you fix it? There's a problem right there. Mm-hmm. Next thing we need to look at, are people willing to forgive? You're not going to forget, and it's unrealistic to expect people to forget. But is there going to be a situation where the offender, shall we say, in the couple is constantly made to make up for it? That no matter what he or she does, it's never enough because you have to prove to me you still love me. Okay? Situations like that do not bode well. They do not bode well.
So if somebody comes to counseling for something like this could take a bit of time.
It depends. When we say a bit of time, it probably won't be solved in one session. That being said, they won't be with me for months and months either.
Right.
The key here is, as we've said again, we want to get our patients to the point where they are well and they can go about their lives and handle things on their own, not where they are consistently dependent upon the therapy session for the rest of their lives. That's not good therapy.
But don't a lot of other things pop up, and don't you discover a lot, which is the point of going?
Yes.
That you might say, okay, there's something we got to work on. There's another issue here.
It's interesting. We don't usually discover anything, but things come up that people have tried to push away.
There you go.
This happened, but it didn't matter. Yeah. And we find out all of a sudden, well, it kind of did matter. So you are right.
And something that might lead to this, somebody straying, this could be years in the making, right? I mean,
yes.
It's probably something deep-seated somewhere.
Very seldom do relationship problems happen overnight. It's not a situation, despite what some people like to believe, our relationship was perfect. There were no signs, and then all of a sudden, oh my God.
Yeah.
That is very, very, very uncommon. I can't say never, because when we're talking about human behavior, nothing is never. But that is very uncommon. And as you said, as we probe, there have been signs all along that things were not exactly as good as we would have hoped.
Yeah, because you can imagine that somebody just might be ignoring this because they don't want to change anything and they don't want to recognize it and bring it to the surface.
Because let's face it, with all due respect, individual problems are difficult to deal with. When we're talking about problems in a relationship, it's even more difficult because you need to look at your part, you need to look at the part of your partner and how the two of them get together. It's not easy. It's not an easy thing.
It would be, I would imagine there are people who are so honest with each other, and then there are other people who really are not honest with each other.
Exactly.
They just kind of live in this surface relationship.
And to be very blunt, the ideal is a happy medium. People talk about white lies and black truths. We want to be honest, but you don't, for example, want to say to your partner, I have to tell you something, honey. That outfit you have on makes you look like your rear end is the size of a truck. Certain things we want to curb. You know, we chuckle when we say that. But we want to be honest, but we don't want to be brutally honest.
Yes.
Because so often people use honesty as an excuse to hurt. Well, you asked me, I figured you wanted me to be honest.
Right.
So you have to be just as careful with honesty as you are with lies.
Yes, you do. In respect. You know, bottom line is total respect for that other person.
And mutual respect.
Mutual respect. Yeah,
Definitely.
will go a long way.
It sure does.
Well, it's given us a lot to think about. And again, we started this last time Dr. Amy Beth was on about can or should this marriage be put back together after an affair. I mean, really firecracker stuff. That can either blow a relationship out of the water or can you work around it? And again, the question is sometimes, is it right to work around it and put it back together? Sometimes the best thing to do is not to get back together.
And you know, a lot of times, I know we're coming towards the end, but I want to throw in, a lot of times people come to me as couples and say, listen, should we or shouldn't we?
Right.
And that typically takes one session. And sometimes the answer is not what people want to hear, but it can save a lot of heartache in the end.
And I'm going to leave it there. Dr. Amy Beth Toblieb, she's awesome. And we're going to leave you with her information. So if you are looking for her, you will find her. And you can start your own conversation. Her office is at 1006 Niagara Falls Boulevard in Tonawanda. You can call the office to make an appointment at 834-1505. If you'd like to dialogue with Dr. Amy Beth, you can find her at dramybeth.com.